Clink. Oh, yeah, there we go. Sorry, my knee kind of did a weird thing there. What's up, everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Happy episode, whatever this is. Got wifey here with me tonight.
Hi.
I'm super... It's been super snotty. I don't usually have spring allergies. Usually my allergies are in the fall, but for whatever reason, I feel like the month of March, I've just been like sneezy and runny and bleh.
Yeah. I never buy Kleenex, but I've been buying Kleenex specifically for him.
Yeah. I honestly, I'm just gonna grab him. Just to be safe. There we go.
Patience, everybody.
I didn't want to start this way, but I was just telling Tay, I was scrolling on Reels before this, and I feel like this wasn't happening at all. I think the act of scrolling through Reels just numbed my brain so much that
everything stopped
my
working.
nervous system stopped working. And
went zombie mode.
Yeah, I just went full zombie and my body wasn't working. Reason I want to have Tay back is because we've been kind of following her yoga journey a little bit, and she agreed to do it yesterday, but yesterday we had been traveling. Yesterday was Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had been traveling from a friend's wedding, and we did a 7-hour drive and then had dinner, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nah, not feeling it. Too much. But I wanted to catch up with her yoga journey. And then we had an awesome conversation last night. And so some of that stuff, I'll kind of want to circle back around.
What? I didn't know that.
But I think it'll be good. Now, last time we did this, had you officially announced that you're going to be doing kind of like traveling, or I guess be like a free agent to book yoga classes for?
No, I don't think so. I think we talked about like,
okay, well, just
that's what I want to do.
Okay, yeah. Well, you kind of launched a little bit and you've been doing your chakra stuff, so talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I officially kind of put myself out there to do like personal yoga sessions, private and group yoga classes. I think I just did one. My first one was for a friend of ours. They were getting married, and so I did their bridal party, like a group yoga class, and it was so much fun. And I love doing that for people. It's kind of like my gift. Like I want to give the gift of movement, and like it's fun too, like being in a room with people that maybe most of them like haven't even done yoga before, and it's just a fun thing to do with friends, and you can laugh. It's not a serious thing, or it can be, if it just depends on what type of group you are, what you want. So yeah, officially kind of launched that. I have my own email for it. Jake will probably put all the...
Just give your info now, I guess.
Yeah, we can put it in the...
Yeah, I'll put it in the descriptor.
Thing. Yeah.
What's
it's just yoga.with.tay@gmail. And that's the same with my Instagram. So you can follow me there.
Yoga.tay.
Yoga with Tay.
Oh,
there's
okay.
A dot.
Oh, yoga.with.tay. Okay, for Instagram too. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So you can follow me there. I work at Yoga 6 here in Powell and Columbus. And I every Saturday since 6 Saturdays, because I have 2 left, but I'm doing a chakra series. So the past month I've done each Saturday is a chakra. And we kind of talked about these on the last time I was on.
What are the chakras? Just to go over them real quick.
Yeah, I was about to.
Okay, sorry.
Same page.
Same page.
So chakras are energy centers going straight through the center of your body, starting at the base. So starting at your sacrum, it's the root chakra, and then it moves up into like right below your belly button, and that's your sacral chakra. And then
wait, so the
sacral sacral.
The sacral chakra is not the one on your sacrum?
No, that's your root chakra.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, your root is like, think of it as branches. You're literally grounding the very bottom of you, like your sacrum, grounding into the earth and just getting more in touch with. Think of like your childhood and what it was like playing in the dirt and like running around with your friends and how like amazing you feel. You don't have any worries about adulthood yet. And just kind of channeling into what grounds you, like who grounds you, who makes you feel the most stable and safe, or things. So that's where the root chakra is. And then it moves up to the sacral chakra. That's more like, so you're literally moving up in emotions too, I guess, like leveling up. So next is more like creativity. It's sensuality. It's what's the word? When you're a kid, like imagination, and just okay. Like putting that with your creativity. So still kind of like following your childhood. Like it was easy to be creative, and now when you're an adult, it's like, well, I have work to think about. I have kids now. I have so just like going inward and being more creative, doing what you love to do and exploring that, opening that up. Next one is solar plexus. That's right above your belly button. So it's like your gut feeling. That's pretty much like the way to think of it, is what your gut's telling you to do this. And if you
like
don't,
your intuition,
sort of that's more like your third eye kind of.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But yeah, it's like if you don't follow your gut, sometimes it makes you regret that decision, or you follow your heart and not your head, and it's like kind of figuring out what you want and being confident in what you want. And then the next is your heart. That's very general, like love, gratitude, just being open to.
I'm so sorry. I'm grateful for you for doing this.
That's so sweet. But yeah, just being open to other people's love and to your own self-love. And that one was really fun to do. I guess, I mean, it was fun, but it was very like, each one of these classes, there's a different vibe.
Did you do the one after the heart?
Yeah, I just got sidetracked.
Oh, okay.
Talking about the heart. Because it's just a good one. Okay, well, the next one is your throat. It's literally just throat chakra. So this is about speaking your truth, speaking your mind, and being confident in what you're saying. And so during this class, excuse me, I kind of told my students, like, I had a few reflection questions that I ask in each one of these chakra classes. And, like, think about when you say something at a party and then you go home and you just like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. Like, why did I say that? What, that didn't even mean anything. Or it's the opposite. And you're like, wow, I felt really confident in all the conversations I had with people. Your throat chakra is on point. But if you feel like you're not confident enough in what you're saying, why? Like you always kind of talk to me when I was you're helping me figure out my stuff. 5 whys deep.
Oh yeah.
I've never forgotten that. It's so important. Like, well, why is it hard to speak your mind? Okay, you answer it. Then ask why again to that answer. Or
sure.
You know?
Yeah, and if you can go 5 whys deep, it's like, okay, you have a pretty good understanding of the depth of your reasoning.
Yeah. So that's the throat. The next is your third eye, right in between your eyebrows. That one's pretty known, I think, as well. That's your intuition. That's literally a third eye to see more clarity on your path. And it's the affirmation, there's affirmations for each one, like a quick I this or I that. So this one is I see. Your third eye sees through the bullshit, kind of. And you have to be open to it to see through the material world. And that's like, so after your throat, the next two, that's where it starts to get like deep. And sometimes people are like, oh, this is, even including myself, sometimes I'm like, oh, this is like woo woo and a little too far for me. But just like open your mind to it and it can be fun. It's like an aid to helping if you do have any problems. Maybe you don't really feel like you have a third eye, but it's based around intuition, and maybe you've been having a difficult time like following your intuition or finding it. So there's certain yoga poses, certain questions that you can ask for each chakra to kind of like help guide you. And so you don't have to believe in it. It's just a guide. And so the last one is your crown, and it's just above your head. So it's not physically part of you. It's like your aura, it's the crown. So it's just hovering over your head. That is like, you've made it through your body, and now it's everything outside of you. And so that's going to come up this Saturday. And that's the final chakra. So I have one more Saturday after that, and then I'm done at Yoga 6. And
Powell.
In Powell.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like, and I made sure like, okay, I want to do the chakras. How many weeks do I have left? So I made sure this was kind of like my last few gifts for the members at the studio that I was at to open. So I've been with them. It would be 2 years this October. That would be with Yoga 6 in Powell. So they're still fairly new. And yeah, that's what I've been doing. And
so your intention for these classes was sort of like, was your intention to provide them with some of the foundational knowledge of yoga in hopes that when you leave, they continue to practice and seek out that sort of knowledge, seek out those experiences? Was that your intention with these?
No, not really. My intention and I don't plan my classes. I just like show up and get the vibe and piece it together as I go, honestly. So that's like my intention for all my classes. Like I want to make sure I get to at least one person to like yoga to click with them. So then they can keep doing it or keep stretching or just keep moving. And so these chakra things, I think my intention was for them to get a better understanding, I guess, of who they are. And that's what yoga is. And the chakras are a really good starting point, I think.
So maybe answering this at the beginning, what was your specific intention with the chakra lessons then?
to get them more in tune, I guess, with
before
their bodies. And yeah, I mean, it was getting a little stale after a while.
Sure, yeah.
Not having themed classes.
So looking for a way to invigorate your practice.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Make teaching more fun. Because it is fun, but it gets a little stale if you don't switch it up a bit.
Sure.
So,
kind of circling back to when you were talking about the third eye with regards to maybe the spiritual side of the practice being a little out there for certain folks. I think also the premise of moving up the chakras, because if one is quote unquote blocked, right, you have to address that one before you move up, and which makes sense. You have to get to the root of the issue, and so if your root chakra is blocked, there's something keeping you from moving past that. Then you have to address that first and then move up. And it can be challenging, I feel like, with the third eye, because you had mentioned the third eye is seeing through the bullshit. I think that's a good way to say it in sort of a casual way. I also think that you won't be able to unlock that if you're lying to this yourself, if you can't see through your bullshit. And so I feel like sometimes when people say, oh, it's a little out there, it's a little too much for me, I get that. And because I understand the hesitancy for an experience like that. But I feel like a lot of times what happens is someone is insecure about something or is stuck somewhere emotionally. And so it's hard for them to perceive themselves truthfully, let alone see the world as it is. Because, also with truth, the truth might not be what you want it to be. And so there can be avoidance in seeking it out.
Yeah. I mean, like if you go to the heart, say your heart chakra is blocked, everything else is blocked too. It's like a video game. You have to get past this level in order to get to the end. And so if you unblock your heart, that means you have self-love. That means you're open to other love and you're grateful and you're just like...
You can give love and receive it.
Yeah. So then when you move up to your throat, that's speaking your truth, speaking your mind confidently. So that, like, if you love yourself and you're confident in who you are, it may be easier to speak your truth or
also
be confident in your words and conversation and listening to other people. So then when you go up to...
I think if I love you, or like you, so like if you love people, when you tell them the truth, you're not doing it to hurt them. You're telling them because you love them. Yeah. So like the intent behind the truth telling is with love in the heart.
Yeah. And so then it might be easier to see through bullshit because you're seeing with an open heart. Right. You're seeing with an open mind. And
then you feel bad for the person,
Empathy comes in.
Yeah. You're like, oh, that's, they've got something going on to where, that, even if they're being a dick or something like that, you see them and, that doesn't mean you can't get offended or you can't get hurt or something, but you see them. And I think initially you might be like, oh, that's just like a sad person. I feel bad for that person that they feel like they have to act that way. And, they're so caught up in their own bullshit.
Yeah. And like patience is huge through each one of these chakras. If you don't have patience enough to... Go ahead.
Don't have patience what?
If you don't have enough patience to work out each one of these chakras, or just if you're not into it, just think about the questions correlated to it. If you don't have enough patience to figure it out, then you're going nowhere.
Yeah, you're not ready.
And then you keep complaining about how life sucks, or like complaining about this, or you're putting the blame on someone else. And if you're not willing to do the work, like, what do you do? What do you want?
Yeah,
You know, like,
for sure.
So if you believe it or don't, it's still such a good aid to help in any part of your life.
Yeah. And then what's the last one called again?
The crown.
The crown, right. Sitting on top of the head, or hovering just above the head.
That's like enlightenment.
That's like a transcendent experience where it's like you become more than the self.
Yeah. Because it's not all about you. And once you figure that out and are comfortable with that, I feel like you're floating, like things are a little bit easier. Things are a little less stressful for you, because when you take all of the weight off of you, it's just uplifting, and you feel like you can kind of do anything, and you've done the work. Once you feel that, once you realize, like, wow, I put in the work in myself, and I am seeing results. I'm seeing that I'm happier, or that I'm more grateful, and I'm practicing that, maybe not every day, but like more often than you have been. Like, things are going to change in a positive way, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know how they wouldn't if you practice. Like, my mom, every morning, she writes in a little journal who she's grateful for every single day.
I didn't know that. That's very sweet.
It is. And I don't do that. But I definitely think about it.
There's different ways to practice gratitude.
Yeah, I'm not big into writing. It hurts my hands. So I move my body, and that's how I figure things out. But yeah, just little things are big things. Shout out Pat Sidley, basketball coach.
Nice. That was a lesson that he would say.
Yep.
Yeah, It's true. Well, it also just like the same goes for marriage. The little things are the big things. Because if I do something every day that annoys you, even if it's just for 5 minutes, it's like 5 minutes every day. Nose. Well, I gotta do that. 5 minutes every day. It's like, and especially if you're asking me to do something and I'm not doing it, that builds up over time quickly because we live together. So
snowball effect, classic.
Right. So, I'm just chipping away at you until you snap.
Crack.
You crack, exactly. So,
has anyone seen Tay crack?
So better Tay on crack. Better to address it as soon as you can. So it's like, hey, if you could just stop doing this thing, here's how it's affecting me. That would be great. And then it stops.
Yeah, you get what you want.
You get what you want.
And you're being honest with your partner.
Right.
And that's huge.
For sure.
We established that at the
beginning.
It's
on me to not be petty.
Yeah.
And also...
Well, because we have respect for each other.
Sure.
And you respect that I'm noticing something that's bothering me. I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
You respect my honesty.
And if
you take it.
Well, and if I don't get it, I'll keep asking questions until you explain it or you realize, oh, this was dumb.
Yeah, both of those have happened.
Both happen where it's like, hey.
It still happens.
Yeah. And will happen. Continue. It's happening.
Yeah, I think it's happened recently where you like, I'll realize that was really silly to be like upset about, and I don't get really upset at myself anymore.
Yeah,
as much as I used to. But he would just like ask me questions, and they're very valid questions. They make sense, and I'm like, oh, I don't know why I got so up in arms about that, and it's just like, do more of that. I think, like, don't get so
Well, it's
hard on yourself.
It's seeking truth, because I want to know if I'm the problem, and I also want to know if you know what you're talking about.
Sometimes I have no idea,
and vice versa too. You know, if, hey, what, Jake, are you feeling XYZ? You know, and then if I say yes, then I can just explain. But, or do you really think that's a good idea? And then if I'm getting like defensive pretty quickly, then it's like, ah, shit. If I'm getting defensive, what are we getting defensive for here?
There's always a reason.
Yeah, always a reason. So cool. We talked about the chakras. We talked about how you are able to now be booked for private sessions. You're also going to be switching to the Upper Arlington Community Center to teach some yoga in the month of April, which will be good. I think what we were talking about initially with the chakras is kind of a good transition into sort of what we were talking about yesterday. Do you want to give a little summary about that?
No.
You don't? You don't have to like explain. You don't have to explain like what made you.
I literally thought of this. I took June to go to Aldi this afternoon, and I literally thought of this in the car. I was like, I don't think he would have me talk about this, but if I did, what do I even say? Like, I don't want to say too much, and I don't want to I don't want people to not like me.
Oh, I think people like you. I think I can summarize it.
I'm just confused.
Sure, that's fine.
Tell you guys.
Can I do it?
That's what. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So we went to a wedding this past weekend, and it was a beautiful ceremony with our beautiful, lovely friends who we are so happy they got married. And we got to see a bunch of, and it was in North Carolina. We got to see a bunch of our North Carolina friends. And it was just lovely reunion with lovely people and just beautiful, beautiful wedding. And as we were driving home, Tay was sort of asking me questions because I was raised Catholic, and it was a very Christian wedding. Lots of prayer, lots of singing, maybe not lots, a couple songs, maybe just one. And Tay was not raised that way. And so she was just kind of asking me questions about Christianity, and sort of her perspective on it was sort of like an all or nothing. You either totally believed or you didn't believe at all. And that sort of led into our discussion yesterday where we were talking, and kind of she started to realize that maybe that wasn't so much the case, because I told her how, despite being raised Catholic, I went from, being raised Catholic during my first communion to being a pretty young atheist. Like, I'm talking still elementary school. I kind of had it was pretty young.
So young.
Through high school, through college. Now, that's being said, I did practice. I didn't practice. I was still spiritual to a certain regard, and I have had spiritual experiences. It wasn't until after college that I realized that atheism was also a belief, and it was a belief that there is nothing, like there is no God, there is no afterlife, but that's a belief because we can't know that. And so I'm now very much open to the idea that there is a higher being, and I think a lot of times people who are atheist or who have hang-ups on religion, they typically have a hang-up on Christianity because it's global and because it's easy to point to people who are hypocritical in their belief system, or organizations that are hypocritical and how they go about executing their beliefs, and to say, Christianity is not good because these people aren't practicing as they should and aren't living with love in their hearts, that sort of thing. And it's like, hey, fair enough. There are definitely people who are hypocritical in that regard. That being said, I was curious because, I'm a dedicated lifelong learner, and, the certain religious texts have stood the test of time. And I'm also a big fan of mythology, so I've read Greek mythology. I've got uh, Homer's Iliad and Odyssey. I've got some Norse mythology. I've got a book of stories from different mythologies, and yada yada yada. And I've read all of those, and I was getting to a point where I was really just curious what was in the Bible. And so from December 23 to December 24, I read the entire New Testament cover to cover. And sometimes
it was like
it was this
3 inches tall.
It's a pocket New Testament, so it's like super tiny print. And I was reading it before bed, and sometimes I'm nodding off. So to say that my retention of it would be low is fair, and it's also like super dense and written in a way that is challenging to comprehend. So by no means am I a pro, but it really gave me an awesome appreciation for that religion. And anyways, I'm curious about all things religion, mythology, and that sort of thing. Just because the question of where do we come from, what is the purpose of things, that is a fascinating question to me, and I'll continue to seek that throughout my life. And so, when Tay and I were talking yesterday, I was telling her how I was initially apprehensive to read the Bible because I'd been an atheist for so long, up until, let's say, I was 24-ish, 25. And then, came to the conclusion that I was open to something of the sort. I think also sometimes people think that, like, they conflate God and a higher being with Christianity, and those two things can be separate. Now, obviously, if you believe in Christianity, those two things cannot be separate. But, all that to say, I was apprehensive to learn because I was like, if I read this, am I less of a non-believer? And maybe technically yes, but my curiosity eventually got to the point where I was more curious than I was afraid of what I would think of myself, because I saw myself in a certain light. Anyways, I was curious enough to be like, you know what? I don't care what this means. I don't care if people judge me for this. I'm not a Christian. I don't necessarily say I believe that religion is the truth, but I will say that there's a lot of awesome wisdom, and I really like the narrative of that story. And Tay and I were talking about it, and that was one of her reasons for being hesitant. When she first started being a teacher, she started reading, books on the chakras, or books on the origins of yoga,
mm-hmm.
and didn't vibe with it, and felt like she had to fully believe.
Yeah, I feel like I had to make a choice. Like,
either believe or don't.
Yeah, there's like the Yoga Bible is the
Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita. And I started it, and it
which
is,
we have 2 copies of.
Yeah, I have one that's like a little more comprehensive. But it's still like a challenging read for me because there's just like crazy name pronunciations, and but like I started it and I didn't even get very far because I just lost like, why am I reading this? Because
what's the point?
Yeah, like, and one of the points was like, well, I want to, if I'm practicing yoga and I enjoy it and I enjoy all the parts of yoga other than the physical poses, I want to learn where it came from and the origins. But I also felt like I had to be connected in some way in order to, or like, I just feel like I had to make a choice. Either I believe in, and going to practice like Buddhism or Hinduism in order to be like a deep yogi. Like, I just felt like, or I made the choice and didn't, and I'm a fraud. Like, that's how I felt. And I still feel that way. I'm still working through it, but
yeah, well, I mean, we literally had this conversation yesterday, and basically you were kind of like realizing that just because I read the Bhagavad Gita or, seek out some of these other texts doesn't mean that I'm a true believer, but it also doesn't mean that I'm like a hypocrite. It just means that I'm seeking out more knowledge, and if I relate to it, great. If I don't, okay. But it does make me a more well-rounded practicer of yoga because I can at least understand the history behind it. There's bound to be some things that you do relate to. Yeah. It's an ancient text that has stood the test of time. So there's bound to be something in there that is cool and worth sharing.
Yeah.
And, yoga is one of those things like so many others, like meditation or fitness or whatever, where part of it is just doing the thing. So like, when you have when you participate in a yoga practice, mentally you could be having a bad day. Mentally you could want to quit the practice, even if it's just like a slow flow or a restore. You're just not into it, but you show up and you do it anyway. And you might be critical of yourself, like, oh, that was a bad practice. I didn't get what I wanted to out of it. But the point was showing up and doing it and working through those emotions. And even if you make little to no progress, you still took the time to yourself to try and work through it. And I feel like that's part of what happens when you seek knowledge in something that interests you. You could be reading the Bhagavad Gita one day and be like, I don't understand this. This doesn't make any sense, blah, blah, blah. And then the next day you're like, oh, this is a cool part. I get this. There's a cool lesson in here. And even though like it could be confusing to read, you'll also get better at reading it as well. And so it'll get easier as you go. And, one day you'll have finished that book. And that, just like when I read the New Testament, I didn't retain all of it. But I did get a lot out of it. And I'm sure you'll get a lot out of it. And I definitely want to read the Bhagavad Gita as well. And so, yeah, I think that's cool. I think that's cool that you kind of came to that realization yesterday. I'm super pumped to see just to see what comes of it. What you end up seeking out.
I know, because I think what started that conversation on the drive back from the wedding was like, I've been to Catholic and Christian weddings, like mostly all of them have been. And I just feel really uncomfortable when we start praying or singing. Like, I don't know the songs and I don't know the prayer. And like, they're in the book, but like, they're sometimes said in like a certain way, and I don't know. Like, I just have never done it, and I'm very respectful, like I bow my head, like but part of me thinks like, oh, because I'm not singing this song, do people think that I don't believe, or like that I hate God, or like I'm protesting or something? Like, that's what I think about when I'm there. And then, but like, I have a respect for everybody for believing in something and putting all of their faith there. And like you said, there are a lot of lessons, whether you believe or don't. Like, lead with your heart, lead with love. That's like every religion, probably.
Yeah, it's
like
a lot of them,
most
sure.
of them. It's like love is the core to it, and I believe in that. But yeah, just like the uncomfortableness, and I've never, like, yeah, when I'm at weddings, I feel the way I feel, and I know that I don't pray, and I never go to church. So that's not how I was raised. Not saying that my family was anti-church and all.
Your family's great.
Didn't want to do it, and I just have never asked myself seriously, like, what do I believe in? And when I found yoga, I mean, that was the start, and it's still a journey and always will be. But yoga helps me figure out like what I believe in, and I've never like asked myself that question seriously. And so I think that night and our conversation flowed into yesterday just because, and I felt like Jake thought I was giving him the silent treatment on the 7.5 car ride home. But I wasn't mad at him for talking the night before. Like it just felt so heavy on me that I just wanted to like listen to my music, and I wasn't mad. It just like, I guess I was mad maybe a little at myself for not knowing, and he knows more than I do. And
on the topic of religion.
Yeah. And so I think I was just like, maybe just a little more annoyed than upset at myself, because I just don't know so much about it. And I have just gone my whole life not really having a belief system. And I think I'm starting to want one with my yoga practice. And so I don't know what we talked about and what we're figuring out, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah, it was cool yesterday when you said that was something you had not really asked yourself. Like what do I believe in, or why don't I believe anything? That's cool. It's just a cool thing to try and work out. And it's a lifelong thing. Like, I said, I started questioning things when I was super young, 8 or 9, and I've been seeking answers since. And it's led me all over the place. And like we talked about yesterday, it was super nice to just have that conversation with you.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm so glad I'm married to you.
Right, because have that. I've been sort of seeking that out on my own. I mean, you were there next to me as I'm reading the Bible, and I think that I seek that sort of thing out. I mean, sometimes you'll catch me watching something about it or whatever. All the books that I have up there, or at least you see them. But
you like to know stuff.
I like to know stuff, and I like to search. And that was cool yesterday. I feel like we almost unlocked a new thing for us to talk about, like a new room in our marriage house to explore and decorate, and
I know that's a good way to
furnish.
Think of it, because I mean it's always felt like such a heavy topic for me. Yeah. Religion. I don't have it's an empty room. Like, it's not even, there's like a million bolts on the door.
Right.
Like, but I'm not, and I wasn't seeking to figure out how to open it.
Yeah.
But I think slowly over time of going to these weddings, that's been kind of chiseling away at it. And this past weekend, I guess, was just the big blow.
Yeah.
To open it and talk about it.
Well, one of the beautiful parts of the ceremony was, and I think in general of Christian wedding ceremonies in general, is the purpose behind marriage is so very clear and evident. And I think that is really comforting. And also, I think it really does get to the heart of marriage, is the two becoming the one, and I think they said, becoming one flesh. It's like, you're no longer simply just individuals. You are the union. You are the marriage. And I think Christian services do a really good job of just nailing that. And the vows, because of that, are just so on point. And then also the couple just wrote some lovely, lovely letters.
I know, it made me
to each other, and the purpose, and the letters were full of divine intervention, let's say. And, you know, if you're not Christian or you don't believe in that, at the very least, I hope you're able to, and by you, I just mean whoever's listening, and, you know, I hope you're able to hear those things and be like
set it aside and just listen to them speaking from their heart.
Yeah.
And
or just like appreciate the purpose behind those words. It's like, this is what is meant to be, and what is meant to be is good, and we're going to work at making it good, and we're going to work at making it very good over time, and build a beautiful life together. And, you know, one of the assumptions of Christianity is that existence is good, and that is echoed in the marriage vows and all of that. And so it's just very nice to hear and to watch people fully enact that out. And so the wedding ceremony inspired our conversation that night, yesterday, and then again on this podcast. So overall, super, super positive experience, outside of the fact that we got to watch two people that we love and care about tie the knot and get married and start their future together, which is just absolutely excellent.
No, it never fails. Like,
oh my gosh, never.
Well, like seeing people that you love, or the people that you love, and walking down the aisle for the first time. I don't know. It just always, like, I get like that frog in my throat, and I just want to like bawl my eyes out, but I can't because people are around.
Right.
But like, and no one's saying anything. It's just like the beauty, and I think that's what I liked what their what is his name?
The minister?
Minister said, like, that everyone you just saw, like, that's as close as we can get to seeing
heaven on earth.
Heaven on earth.
Yes, that was good.
I loved that because
the bride walking down the aisle towards the groom.
Like,
yes,
and beauty and love walking down towards
in front of the people that you love most.
Yeah, it gives me goosebumps right now.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I love weddings. And
for sure,
being a part of them. Like, gosh, how lucky. Just be a part of somebody's marriage.
Anytime I go to a wedding, I'm always feeling incredibly grateful. I love weddings in general, but it's typically one of the best days of the couple's lives. And it's just so exactly. And you're just like, wow, they wanted me here to witness the best day of their life, or one of the best days of their life. And so I always end up feeling super grateful at weddings and just really wanting to have a good time. God dang. Ooh. Telling you.
Good thing I put the sound machine on.
Yeah. So my trumpet ass, elephant ass nose blowing doesn't wake the kid up. God, I'm gonna have to sneeze soon. Oh God. Wow. This is crazy. Something I wanted to talk to you about. Wow. Something I wanted to talk to you about was we also finished something last night. Do you remember what we finished?
Punisher.
That's right. So
welcome to my world.
Yeah. A little day in the life, everyone. So Tay and I just finished season 2 of Punisher. It was we for a while we watched the show, I'd say every year to every 2 years. We both have a thing for Jon Bernthal, the titular actor, and
we're probably gonna name our kid Frank.
Yeah, that'd be great. So the name of the Punisher character is Frank Castle. Anyways, we watched Daredevil season 1, 2, Punisher season 1, Daredevil season 3, Punisher season 2, all leading up to the new Daredevil season that's been premiering. And it's just so good. What was your experience this time watching through all the seasons?
Every time that we watch it through, I just get more invested,
dude,
in the plot, like just in general.
Retweet.
That like I feel like this time I asked more questions, like because I'm so curious. Where like other times I'm just like sitting and watching. I'm like, yeah, that was cool. Like this time I'm like, why did he do that? Or like, what was his motive here? Like, what? I don't know. It's just
yeah. So
who knew I would.
Tay's a Daredevil Punisher fan.
Good old Mottville.
Just likes hyper violent.
A vigilante.
Vigilante justice.
He's a hottie.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think John Bernthal is hotter than Charlie Cox?
Yeah. Sorry, Charlie.
And Charlie's a handsome guy.
He is handsome.
But John's got that like...
He's like scruff.
Scruff handsome? Well, I feel like John Bernthal's like got...
No, that's what I said.
Oh, okay. Like, he's like rugged.
Yeah, that's
John Bernthal's rugged. Whereas like Charlie Cox is more handsome. He's the ultra boy.
He's the British handsome guy.
Yeah. Yeah. But incredible though.
Yeah, yeah.
His Matt Murdock is perfect.
Yeah.
I don't
think anyone could do it better.
As well.
The way that like he acts when he takes his glasses off.
Oh, because so Daredevil's blind, Matt Murdock's blind, yeah.
Yeah, so like Charlie Cox is not blind.
Obviously.
Like how do you act? Like he
just
like
kind of like staring off into space,
but
not looking in the right direction. It's incredible.
But it looks so like when someone takes his glasses off to like double check if he's blind because he just did crazy stuff. Uh-huh. He's just like, I don't know. It's cool. It's great acting.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, both series, Daredevil and Punisher, are so well done. Like the acting is incredible. The plot's really good. It's complex from a character perspective. And yeah, I mean, all the supporting cast is really good. Mm-hmm. And the action is gritty and hardcore mm-hmm. and brutal. And
you get Daredevil born again, and you're like...
Spoilers.
What is this?
Yeah.
Not spoilers. All I said was...
What is this? Yeah. Yeah, so if you haven't been watching the new Daredevil, I was super hyped. And I know I think you were hyped too.
Yeah, I like Daredevil.
Yeah, and especially I think watching the shows mm-hmm. leading up to it, we were like, let's go, I'm mm-hmm. ready, season 4. Like, so for those of you who don't know, the original Daredevil and Punisher shows started on Netflix. And the first season of Daredevil was in 2014. And it goes Daredevil season 1, season 2, Punisher season 1, Daredevil season 3, Punisher season 2. And Punisher season 2, I think, came out in 2018.
Don't look at me.
And that might have been the same thing as Daredevil season 3 as well. They might have both come out in 2018. But anyways, so they had like 4 years between all those shows being released. And then it's been from 2018 now to 2025 since we've had a season of Daredevil. And when they were originally going to bring it back, they weren't going to bring any of the original cast except for Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock Daredevil, Wilson Fisk as Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk / Kingpin, and then John Bernthal as Punisher. But when they came to John Bernthal, he turned it down because they were gonna not make Punisher hardcore.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do it. And so Punisher is kind of a controversial character because he's a vigilante who uses guns to murder criminals in the street, and so I think it's pretty easy how the character gets controversial.
We've already put 2 seasons out about him, so.
For sure. And well, season 2 actually when it came out in 2018, people were like, there was some controversy because it was around some school shootings when it dropped.
Oh.
And people thought it was insensitive just for the time and the culture. Mm-hmm. Which, like, if that's your opinion, fair enough. That being said, the shows do a really good job of showing how what Frank does is obviously illegal and in a lot of ways is very much not okay. But he also saves people, like innocent people.
Yeah, it's like
he also
only bad guys that he goes after.
Right. And they make it clear
like
that Right. And they make it very clear that what he does is against the law. And basically he's also in season 2 of Daredevil. But so in all 3 seasons of those shows that he's in, he has to avoid the law because he's a criminal. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's constantly dealing.
He's beat up cops.
For sure, yeah, 100%. He's constantly having to deal with the fact that what he does is illegal, and on multiple occasions he suffers consequences. And so I think they do a very good job of tactfully showing what he does and how he's like this heroic anti-hero who saves people but commits ghastly crimes against terrible people. And it's very good. And we both really like it. Anyways, back to what I was saying about the most recent season of Daredevil. They started filming some of it, and then reception for Marvel stuff was poor, especially the She-Hulk show, which Daredevil actor Charlie Cox was in as Daredevil.
Unfortunately,
it is the best episode of the season, which is not saying much. Well, I mean, you get the call from Marvel. That was like as the downfall of Marvel was happening. So probably when he got the call, it was before She-Hulk came out. So like it was before Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Thor: Love and Thunder, and all that shit came out. Mm-hmm. So before like audiences had fully caught on that the shit was going downhill. And so he was probably like, hell yeah, I'm back as Daredevil. Mm-hmm. Anyways, they started filming it, and then the writer's strike hit, and they stopped, and they actually brought on a producer and writer from Punisher to help redo the show. And so they went back, and they shot a bunch of new stuff with the cast from seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Daredevil, and John Bernthal was back as Punisher, and basically it went from being a sort of reboot to a continuation of the Netflix shows. Now, that being said, it's shot super differently, which was like kind of jarring. You even said it.
Yeah, I pointed it out first.
Yes, you did point it out first. It's shot super differently, and the Netflix shows, especially Daredevil, have a very unique way of being shot, and they're very particular about how they use color and lighting to like make things very gritty. And
it just looked way more cinematic than the original ones.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, see, Daredevil Born Again looks a little bit more polished, a little bit more cinematic,
a little bit more 2025.
Yeah, and like in some ways it does the show justice. But it was very jarring because we had done that prep watching those shows. So then even in the first episode, you're like, oh my God, it's shot so differently. There's more CGI because they've got like the Disney Plus budget.
Yeah.
Which, and a lot of like...
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, which is weird because like, you know, in shows like WandaVision or Captain America... Falcon Winter Soldier, like the CGI is usually pretty good. Maybe there's a few scenes that are hit or miss.
Loki was pretty good.
Loki is really good. Some, but not all of Moon Knight, but like the CGI Moon Knight when it was good was really good. But yeah, like the first episode, there's like some CGI. Because in the comics, like Daredevil has this billy club that also has a grappling hook similar to Batman. and he uses it to like pull himself across rooftops.
It just looked like a video game.
Right. It was so weird. Like, why
like you guys have done this?
It's 2025. There's no excuse for bad CGI. I'm sure the budget for Daredevil is lower than it is for the other shows, but still, like if you're gonna
professionals, shouldn't you know?
Well, like if you're gonna put this in, especially because there's like little to no CG in the other seasons of Daredevil.
Yeah.
So like it looks real because it is. It's mostly just stunt work, and even the in Daredevil season 2, he does use the billy club to swing from one building to another, and they just have a dude swing.
But like if it looks real. You said they have the Disney budget now.
That's what they're definitely spending more per episode.
But if you have that much money, spend it on having more stunt doubles, or like spend it having more real locations, or like.
I agree, and I could be wrong, but they're probably like, oh, we'll spend the money on the CGs to save time while we're shooting. Because doing it...
Quality over quantity.
Well, doing it real, like if they had like a bunch of wires and rigs, which I'm sure they did for some of it, but they just sauce it up with too much CG. But, you know, if you do it with like rigs and all that, you have to reset everything, and then it's taking time to shoot. Where it's like, we want to start here and end here.
Okay, but don't you want like better quality?
Oh, I agree.
Things?
I 100% agree. I'm right there with you. Anyways, I hope when they do some of the swinging stuff later on, it does get better.
Spider-Man isn't like that.
What do you mean?
Looking like that?
Like in the next Spider-Man movie? Oh yeah, that'd be terrible.
I mean, that's all Spider-Man does.
Yeah.
And Tom Holland can do it.
Sure. Well, personally, I think the best swinging is in Spider-Man 2, 3, and...
Who swings the best?
The best CG...
Top 3.
The best CG is in Amazing Spider-Man 2, even though that's the worst Spider-Man movie. But I think the Marvel movies, they, like, don't polish the CG sometimes. Like...
Because they're rushing.
Like, I know, they, like, stick with this timeline, and, like, sometimes the Spidey suit just, like, doesn't look that good. Or like, the swinging...
Like, yeah, you guys are Marvel.
Dude,
you guys are like...
Give me stuff that looks good. And then, like, you see, like, the budgets, like, Doctor Strange 2 was, like, $350 million. And you're just like, hey, what's going on here?
So much money.
You're like, why is this movie that good?
What's the person who, like, manages where the money goes? Aren't there people like that?
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't matter. Anyways, back to Daredevil. Yeah, I just hope it looks good later, but we're going to get into spoiler territory, so if you haven't seen it yet, you should probably stop. But, like, you know when he's swinging? I guess we're still on the swinging, so it's not really spoilers. But, like, there's a point when, okay, it is spoilers. When he swings and then tackles Bullseye into the window, that looked good.
Yeah.
But the CGI where he's
the beginning of Daredevil being Daredevil.
Yeah.
Like the first scene of him, like, using the
grapple
to get on the roof and everything.
Yeah.
And run across the roof. I'm like,
that looked like shit.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
That's when I instantly knew, like, it was shot different. This looks crappy.
Yeah. Now, the fight scene with Bullseye was awesome.
All the fight scenes are... I mean, they're... Honestly, it's not a lot because it's very lawyery,
right?
Boring therapy sessions.
Well, that's also been the thing. Like
what are we doing?
And I think I told you this, but with that initial stuff they shot before the writer's strike, they still fit it in. And so, like, the first episode, a bunch of shit happens. And then episodes 2, 3, and 4, he's not Daredevil. There's no Daredevil.
Yeah.
At all. And there's a little bit of a fight at the end of episode 2, where he takes out some guys. But just absolutely no Daredevil. And they have to, like, work, because they're working with the original footage they shot that was going to be not with the original cast. And so they still have to fit that stuff in there. And, like, in episode 3, when he reveals there's a vigilante called White Tiger.
Oh yeah.
And he's like helping him out in court. When he just outs him.
Yeah.
Bro, that I still don't know if I think that was good.
And then he dies.
Right. And like I get that, but I just don't like, you can tell that they're using stuff from a show that was going to be just different, because that is not something I think Matt Murdock would do. And I think they were trying to, like, I get what they were going for. It was like, he's a vigilante who does nothing but save people. And so I'm going to let you know that this guy is that vigilante. So
yeah.
So you're like, oh, this is the guy that saves everyone. And, you know, even though that guy is definitely still doing illegal shit, the jury still basically didn't charge him with anything because they liked him. And like, that's what they were going for. And so like, I get that, but it was just so jarring.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I was so hyped for this. And so far that first episode was such a roller coaster.
Oh my God. I know.
Of emotion.
Well, I'm pretty sure that I fell asleep.
You fell asleep in that?
Every single one.
Yeah, you have. Maybe not the third one, but for the first two and the fourth one, you definitely fell asleep.
Yeah.
I mean, so Frank was in the fourth one, and you missed that conversation.
Yeah, and you guys just heard how much we
love him. But and that part was good.
Slept.
That part was good. It was kind of like, if you've seen season 2 of Daredevil, it was kind of a rehash of like
their relationship.
But Punisher is kind of like the devil on his shoulder, so to speak, where it's like, are you just gonna like let stuff happen now? Which I did like that component. And then at the end, he's kind of like got his billy club out and he's starting to twirl it around on the roof, like get some practice in. So I think he's going to be doing some Daredevil shit soon, but it's just weird to have a Daredevil season where
there's no Born Again,
where there's no Daredevil.
I expected things to be like, it's Daredevil, Born Again,
right?
Crazy, he's
balls
getting
to
after
the walls.
it.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because there's a run in the comics called Born Again, but that's what actually the storyline of season 3 is based off of. But they're calling this one Born Again because it's like a relaunch, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, kind of like Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, there's a homecoming dance there, but it's also like Spider-Man's back with Marvel, baby. You know, that sort of thing. So, I mean, obviously I'm going to watch the rest of it. There's 2 episodes coming out tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Because they're doing a weird way of dumping it, and they're already filming season 2, so, you know, I'm hoping season 2 is a little bit better. And they've got the Punisher special that John Bernthal is not directing, he's helped writing and producing. And so, I mean, that's just going to be solid.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm sure. That. So yeah, that's what we've been doing. We've been spending the last couple months watching Vigilante Justice unfold.
Yeah, putting June to bed. Can't wait.
I know. And the best part is that I don't feel guilty about watching Daredevil and Punisher, because sometimes, like, if we watch something I want to watch, I feel a little bit bad. So I'm like, does she really want to watch this? But, like, you genuinely enjoyed those shows. So
yeah,
that's what's nice. I don't have to feel bad.
That's so good.
I feel good watching them with you. Oh, nice. What time we got here? Oh, you want to call it?
Yeah.
You got more stuff to say?
Do they all know I'm pregnant?
Yeah, we're Tay's pregnant. September, baby. Got another one coming.
Yeah.
You want to give your socials again?
Oh, yeah. My Instagram is yoga.with.tay, all lowercase, and that's also my email. So yeah, if you want in
the Ohio area, in the Columbus, Ohio area,
I'm not going all over the place. Or I could do it on Zoom, you know, if you want to do that.
That's true.
I've done it before.
That's true.
But yeah, you can send me an email If you maybe have like a bridal party or a girls trip or bachelor party, I can work with guys.
Yeah,
I've
for
done
sure.
it. And I have enough patience for you. Yeah. Or just have any questions on like teacher training, and like you are curious about teaching. I haven't been doing it for like a long time, but you know, I like talking about it. So.
Totes. Thanks, everybody. Catch you on the next one. Oh, also, pod has been going for 1 year, baby.
Whoa.
Yeah. 1 year. Cheers to many, many more.
Wow.
Thanks. Yeah. We hit a year. Thanks to everyone for supporting. Share and watch this shit, and we're going to keep rocking it out. Come up season all year long, baby.
Yeah, it's going to be a good year.
No doubt. All right. Peace.
Bye.
What's up, everybody? It's Jake here, Fowler and Friends. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me and all of us over here at Fowler and Friends. So if you could please like, subscribe, comment, do all of that. But definitely subscribe, share the videos with your friends, and keep on supporting the channel. Thank you so much. We'll catch you on the next one. Later.